even though it's been a very unsuccessful pick during Worlds.
Yeah, and it certainly does have the ability to be successful, especially in these early skirmishes if you are going out to the side lanes. But I always have a concern of a Ryze versus a tank-heavy team. And you already have this super beefy front line being picked up. And when you don't have backline access from your mid laner, as this Ryze, you have to use this line skill shot of your Q to get most of your damage out. It's all blocked up by this super tanky front line. You often are not putting out the kind of pressure you need to, but okay.
A pretty aggressive team from Misfits here. Really just that Yasuo of aggression from Alphari, but he brings in the Rumble, only having played tanks here at Worlds.
Caitlyn as well coming in now from SKT. They did not show AD carry in the first phase. They lost the two main late game carries they like to pick for Bang, and he goes over to Caitlyn. It's not with the Janna, who is sitting there and just perma pushing the lane 24/7, but Trundle is still more than fine down in this bot lane here to still play this very aggressive early laning from Caitlyn.
And it still could be a more traditional support, but it is going to be that flex pick Trundle support. Jace up in the top side into the Rumble. That's somewhere where there might be a lot of jungle attention because it is this carry versus carry matchup. But it's very clearly a focus on the early team fights for Misfits with the Taric, with the Rumble ultimate, using J4 to actually set up that equalizer very well. But I think that SKT are going to have some very strong lanes and going to be able to kind of withstand that perhaps already with the Galio. You have a pushing bot lane with the advantage of Caitlyn. You have advantages on the top side as well.
I think that's why Power Beaver's saying, you know what, screw it. I don't care about late game. I need something early game that can try and snowball my team here. Goes for this Ryze pick. We have to remember the Galio could still swap to top, which is where it's sitting at the moment, and you put the Jace mid. We saw Xiao Hu early in the tournament take the Jace specifically against the Ryze in that mid lane, so SKT have that option still.
Yeah, and building into something like the Adaptive Helm as well as the Abyssal Mask on the Galio into the Rumble matchup can make it very hard for Rumble to really kind of push those advantages. And Rumble is a pushing champion if you're going to be pushing in, but not relevant as they have a swap out there. So will be Galio mid is the more standard, and I think works better in general because of the access to both of the side lanes.
Also gives a very strong top lane for both teams to actually play around. It's not the standard tank v tank up there. Both junglers can definitely start paying attention towards it, even though SKT's strategy has actually been leave Huni alone. He's on an island, and then you play around bot side with all your vision. When you have a Jace against the Rumble, you gotta respect that enemy jungler can show up and kill your Jace, so we should see some attention towards it from both sides.
Seeing that attention, we have the Jarvan on the side of Maxlord, definitely having a little early game potential. Where does he find this for Misfits? Where is the best place to go?
I mean, I certainly think that you can get over to those side lanes. It depends on where pressure is, but for Power of Evil and Maxlor, I think there's a lot of onus for them to go as this team, up to the side lanes, try to get something done. I do think that if Huni is pushing on Jace, he could be susceptible, and that's somewhere we can see them try to make a three-man play.
All right, about to be onto the Rift. Our second quarterfinal matchup almost underway. SK Telecom T1 versus Misfits Gaming from Challenger to World stage. Trying to make an impact on the league scene here. And the team is more than ready with social media tweets and confidence. And ready to win.
I'd say they've already made their impact, right? They've made their mark on this tournament. This team has had such incredible improvement throughout the year and really has shown that they're not to be underestimated.
And it's been, again, a fantastic year after they joined in the spring split, qualified through Challenger. The team went to Korea to bootcamp for a full month. They picked up Kakao. They found Power of Evil as well. And then, of course, they had Hansama. They had Alphari and Ignar already. Spring split was okay for Misfits. They made it into playoffs. They couldn't make it all the way to the final. Ended up swapping out the jungler. Maxwell came in as the big shockhole, the big leader. And while it took some time for them during the summer split to really reach their level, they made it all the way to the final. And then now they made it all the way to the quarterfinal at Worlds as well. And they've been underestimated the entire way. No one actually predicted Misfits to be the team who could sit here and now challenge H2K or SKT. That was a little bit of European in there.
and the biggest thing for me now is seeing, can they go that next step, right? Because in that finals, when they made it against G2, against this top quality team who had time to prepare, they were handled very well. It was a 3-0 for G2, and now going up against an even stronger team who has had time to study, who has had time to prepare. Can you challenge this team?
Question of, well, if Maxlor can keep his jungle pathing different from game to game, as SKT, a team that very good at utilizing their subs from Easy Hoon to Faker, and now in the jungle, Peanut and Blank back and forth. They do it constantly from season to season. And both junglers starting, looks like they'll be on opposite sides then.
Yeah, so very important to track both of them, especially Maxlow going buff to buff here. Once he hits level 3, might try and look for an early gank, but he of course needs a little bit more before he can actually do it.
There is a possibility, you know, if you can actually push in bot lane, reset that you can gank someone like a Trundle. The Trundle is not tanky at all in the early stages of the game, does have trouble escaping from some of these ganks if you can land something like the flash stun from Ignar. And Ignar actually going with a very kind of aggressive melee trading style. Thinking Grass the Undying is certainly atypical, but I think it's an adjustment because specifically of this matchup against another melee champion where you can actually get use out of your passive, and having the grasp is going to make your trades that much better.
And the Caitlyn is going to be a big question here, because Caitlyn came into play because she could dominate the bot lane. She could deal with these Relic Shield AD carries and these supports like Lulu Janet that could never punish her, and she could just slowly take your tower. Against the Taric there, is actually set up to, you know, CC her and trade against
on the bang. Dazzle almost taking him down, full explosive shot. And it looks like they're going to lose this damage trade. Wolf still going in a bit, but they say stop, and we'll go back again once we can.
Yeah, I mean, nice little bit of damage coming out at the start on Bang. You also have to respect how much damage Trundle is doing back to you with the auto attack reset, with Chomp reducing your AD and giving the bonus damage as well. Trundle's early damage, if you just jump on his face like that, is actually tremendous, and it's a trade of 2 summoners.
And Ignar didn't really get a lot of value out of his exhaust here in the fight. He's not running heal on the Taric and then barrier on Hansama. They've just gone back to the traditional style before Worlds, where Hansama is bringing heal for himself. But obviously, Ignar here, he's looking at this comp from SKT, and he's seeing 2 physical damage dealers as the main damage carries on SKT's side. And there's going to be a lot of armor stacking on Maxwell's side. There's going to be Ignar trying to do the same and then shut down the Caitlyn or the Jace with exhaust in team fights.
It's also worth mentioning, we haven't touched on it yet, but this is a Stoneborn packed Trundle. So this is for Ardent Sensor. And one of the things about that is you're exceptionally squishy. So you are playing a melee champion, and Trundle sometimes can have trouble contributing much if you cannot actually get up in your opponent's face. You have the pillar, you have your ultimate, but past that, you really are not contributing a lot with these really squishy builds if you're going to go for the Ardent Sensor and Redemption.
It is the pillar build, basically. All you do is you land your pillar, that applies the Stoneborn here, so when people are hitting the champion that got CC'd, they get healing back from the Earth and Rune, that it of course puts on as a little debuff, and then you get the Ardent Sensor proc for yourself. Faker though, he's moved to the top lane.
Relieving a little pressure, taking that blast cone as
Alfari
well.
doesn't know he's there.
Great timing as Maxlord just left. Alfari overheating to use his scrap shield to get out of position. Taunt comes in after the flash. They get turret side, and they're going to get first blood.
It's those kind of plays here that can shut down Misfits early game. But keep talking about it. What is Maxlord going to do? Can he get a lane ahead? Well, this wasn't even about the junglers. This was just Faker pushing out his lane, moving to the top lane, and surprised Alfari up there.
Yeah, grabbing the early boots on that first base makes it easier for him to get up there, and not really any way for Alfari to actually escape once Faker is already behind him. There's so much CC there. Huni securing the kills, flashing behind him and knocking him back in, and this is just a really nice roam from Faker.
See, I mean, at this point here, there's no vision of him, but it normally gets called very early when the mid laner just kind of walks out of your lane, and Alfari is just not expecting Faker to show up top lane, and it's a very easy first blood here for SKT, and it's so important for them that they stop this early snowball from Misfits.
One of the biggest concerns as well for Alfari now is you are on this pushing champion, you don't have your flash available. You know, within the next few minutes, Peanut could be up there. He could be looking for a gank, and when he hits level 6,
what about
you
right
could bring
now?
Up Faker and Peanut very easily here too with that Galio roam. So that's another level that they're going to have to be worried about.
So now Maxlaw will also have to struggle when it goes towards the top side, because suddenly Galio ulti is there. You might lose that 2v2. Maxlaw and Power Vivo might have to change their attention to the bottom side, where they have to set up from this Taric here against potentially Wolf on this Trundle, and see if you can actually get some damage on this bot lane tower, maybe a kill as well, and snowball that way.
Well, Alfari's build being shortened a little bit as he goes for 2 cloth armors to start. The Equalizer is going to be more of a slow when they actually get it into these fights. 47 to 29 in CS, as the top lane may not even see that much more love, as Huni will have control of the lane. Pressure a bit towards mid, but it's just to make sure somebody has vision.
And it looks like SKT wants to actually invade for the respawning red buff. Huni has not even purchased yet, though, so he's not that strong yet, but he is with the team. They have the Galio ultimate, and that is giving them the confidence to actually look for a play here. Alfari is 6th, though, and in the jungle corridors, we know how strong Rumble can be.
Oh, they're pinging. They want to fight here.
Maxlor making a move. Huni doesn't like the situation as Alfari moves down from the bot side. Remember, Huni's flash was used in the last engage. Faker tries to come in, and they are going to be able to protect each other for just a moment. Maxlor finds himself going down as Peanut routes around the back of the fight.
Is the issue for Misfits when it comes to playing around the top side. You have to respect the Galio ulti and also the damage that you get early game from a Galio and even a Jace. Despite him not buying, he's still level 6 and the base damage hurts. Misfits lose that trade and now down 2 kills already.
Very low Hans Sama trying to trade with Wolf a bit, but Bang gets the better of Ignar's HP. Wolf will just kind of sustain up here in lane if they don't trade too much. They still have a bit of control.
And we talk so much about Misfits trying to get ahead in the early game. They got to do something now.
Bang's flash now down. They might be able to get the kill onto Wolf as Bang barriers out to get any protection for him.
And Hans Sama went down without getting the heal off, and that is so big because that's one auto away from getting a kill on Wolf. The flash now down from all of the bot lane, from the mid laner as well. No flashes are available across the board for Misfits, and the early game really not going the way they hoped.
All going horribly wrong for Misfits. That crucial first game where you're trying to show you can actually beat them early on, that you can get some of that confidence, momentum for yourself.
See this one more time.
Is the trade, and Hans Sama just...
Oh, and he even flashed there. You're just not understanding how much damage was coming through with the Peacemaker coming through, with that guaranteed crit headshot coming through. He had the early heal, and he tried to flash forward and actually land the stun, but wasn't able to get it going, and unfortunately, they are now way behind.
And you can't make those kind of mistakes against SKT. Like, we already know that you need to play almost a perfect game to beat them. Maxwell's getting caught.
They have the jungle to themselves now. It is going to be Ignar trying to come back, though. Hans Sama has returned to lane, and you have Power of Evil just on the side. Realm Warp comes in. Peanut and Wolf are going to be in a bad spot as Bang just inching into the fight. They lose Wolf, and it looks like Faker's going to be short on the help as well. Atar comes in to stop Hans Sama in his tracks and possibly put him down. Peanut thinking about going back in as Bang can trade more damage from the bot side, and Faker staves off another kill. They may want it, though. Winds of War just short from hitting Hans Sama, and they're going to back off from this.
Misfits do get a kill. They push them out of the jungle, so something over working for them could give them a little bit of confidence, but we'll see if they can get any more. SKT did get some vision down in the jungle. Galio ultimate is almost back up, so they're going to have to pay the respect over to Faker.
All right, 1 kill back here still. Misfits Gaming, definitely not the start they were looking for. Right now, almost down 2,000 gold. The Caitlyn in the bot lane is just farming, not getting any damage on the tower, but not getting shut down either. Power of Evil trying to do what he can in mid lane, but it's so hard against the Galio.
It certainly is, and SKT wanted to go for this aggressive early invade, but the Ryze ultimates that you had talked about earlier actually did come very heavily into play because SKT is making this move without Galio ultimate being up. So despite the fact that they get a lot of damage down early, the Ryze roam comes in first.
Yeah, and also we have Bang right now returning from base. Just an over-aggressive play here from SKT, making a mistake on their side, getting punished for it instantly. And Sama hoping you get a second kill on the way out. But because of Faker's early taunt here, catches the Tristana instantly and blocks any incoming damage.
Good for Power of Evil as Faker was able to get an early roam, get that kill in. One almost delivered to Power of Evil there, and not sure that's going to happen very much more as SKT play a little bit safer in those engages.
It's also a little bit concerning when you're looking up at the top lane for Alfari because so much you talk about Rumble, getting early spell penetration, being able to get this level 2 ultimate, and being super powerful around that timing, and that's really when Rumble does reign supreme, but because he's been put behind, he's into this kind of full-on defensive build, likely building towards the Seekers now, and with Seekers and Tabbies, your damage is a lot lower. You do still have the base damage working up for you, but spell penetration really is an important part of Rumble.
Rumble has become basically a snowball pick, as you're highlighting, because we know in the late game, there'll be redemption, there'll be these huge locket shields, and they're just going to block most of his ulti damage. So if he's not doing well in the mid game, in the upcoming team fights we're going to have in the next 10 to 15 minutes, the pick kind of has no place all of a sudden. But all their flex picks from SKT in this pick and ban phase really put Misfits in a tough spot, because they were looking at a Galio and a Trundle being, okay, they can both actually go top lane. One can go support, one can go mid lane, and then they lock in this Rumble, and suddenly Jace comes in as a top lane surprise, and now they're diving.
Mooney going for the dive. Faker knows he can come in. Alfari tries to get just away from the turret, dodging out on the taunt, but knocked back in, and Faker picks up kill number 2.
Even roams again back up to the top lane here from Faker, and you talked about how SKT has not been playing from Huni. They've been letting him be alone by himself in a side lane, making his plays, but this game, they are putting him ahead and they're showing that they can play all of these different styles.
They know down the bot lane that Bang and Wolf just wants to survive. They know there's a winning lane, top lane, they can try and utilize. And it's this Galio pick. Azel, you said this in the pick and ban phase, giving Galio over to a team like SKT. It's so scary, and Faker right now, he's part of everything.
Yeah, and I mean, not only just the defensive capabilities, but obviously how aggressively you can make this. This is diving into a Rumble. Unfortunately, the early equalizer not really paying dividends there for Alphari, as Huni's kind of just jumping out of it. I don't think there's any escaping this play.
Exactly. The first gank was just Faker walking to top lane. The second one now is like, well, I pushed my lane, I've ulted, go to the top lane again.
And we say scary, but why? Why is Galio so scary and then in the hands of SKT?
Because Galio is such a stable pick. It's a tank that has strong wave clear. It's a tank that has super high early game impact, a lot of crowd control. You can not only control your lane through your wave push, you can then move to the side lanes. You have this easy response. Anytime the team wants to do something on the map, you press R. You can shut that down. Anytime you want to shut that down. Anytime you want to do something aggressive on the map, you simply press R. You can set it up. So really in the early game, I just think that Galio reigns supreme.
Also worth adding for the late game fights, he has a massive AoE taunt, which is so valuable because you have these backline carries you want to protect, and Galio can do that so well, or you can catch the enemy. Let's see what happens here.
Hansama going aggressive again. Teleports coming in from the top side. Don't even know if they need it. Ace in the hole tries to get hit. Cosmic Radiance comes down. And
there's four here. They're going to go for the dive.
Now, Sejuani all dodged out on one. Hansama gets taken down as Faker now 3-0-1. 5 kills on the board for SKT.
You thought Faker needed his ulti to help the side lanes? There's a teleport as well. Why not? He's straight down into the bottom lane. Misfits are trying to be aggressive in the side lanes, and Galio punishes them again.
And this is just another problem with Ryze in these early stages. Yes, Ryze can be strong in these skirmishes, but how can he ever get to them when he's constantly pushed in by this Galio, when he's not able to actually access these side lanes, and when he's forced into the cleanse versus the teleport? So really things going so well for SKT in the early game, and with these item completions coming through, it's just bad news goes to worse. I mean, Huni already has a tier and a full black cleaver, and it's going to be crushing side lanes.
Faker gets caught. I don't know if he's going to be able to make it out of this. It looks good as he just walks down. Huni says, yeah, we can walk out of this, and Alphari gets pulled out of lane. As they start to rotate back, it's going to be Hansama up there.
Yeah, I mean, there's 3 men hitting Faker, but where's the damage, right?
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Mostly magic damage coming through from Power of Evil, and this guy's already on his Mercury treads, already has the adaptive helm. And Galio has so much innate damage reduction through the passive, through the taunt passive when you're channeling it as well, that you need so much more to ever be able to threaten him. Right?
We are only 15 minutes into the first game of this series, and the SKT War Machine is steamrolling over Misfits. This is not how it's supposed to go for Misfits if they want to do anything in this best of 5 against SK Telecom. And right now, it's an uphill battle. They need to find some opening, but they're not winning any of the lanes.
Yeah, and it's really problematic because, as you talked about, this is not the way the Misfits are supposed to have these games go, right? It's all about their early game strength. We've talked a lot about that. We haven't talked a lot about how SKT wins even when they are behind. They're 3-1 from behind in this tournament, and now they have a big lead.
So they must lose when they get ahead. That's the strategy. There we go.
There you go. That's how it works.
Locking down this one. Peanut able to get that movement off. Zone him out with that 6 from Sejuani, and they're able to get themselves into position. This now gives that 4,000 gold lead to SKT, and you can see what the average goal difference here between the two teams is in that group stage.
Exactly. Misfits typically are ahead around the 15-20 minute mark, but then can still lose. Let's see what happens here. Power Revo, Max Lore.
Bang feeling good as Faker comes in. Shots onto Max Lore. Looks like they'll keep the focus even if Cosmic Radiance comes down. They turn onto Alphari. Knowing big damage from the Equalizer comes in as Bang goes over the wall to take the 1v1. And Hansama and the rest of the team turn tide. They have to leave Alphari 8-1. SKT 16 minutes in.
There's just no damage there for the Misfits. Faker comes in with the ultimate again, shutting them down completely. They get 3 kills. They're going to get the Rift Herald. They're pushing multiple lanes here as well. Jace will likely be able to knock down the mid turret. They can get the top turret and even use that Rift Herald to threaten a tier 2.
It's like Misfits getting so desperate, they just took whatever fight they could actually find. But SKT were ready. Every single member was there, reacting in time. And they get more kills, more towers. 8,000 gold lead.
It also catapults them ahead once they start to have these vision, these towers. You have Jace able to take them down very fast. Bang as well can do that from a safe distance very quickly. And you have a huge front line to stand in front of you if you even do feel trouble. 31.7 to 24.1.
It's a really good point. I mean, Jace in those side lanes with the W, giving you all those extra attacks. You are knocking down these turrets so incredibly fast. And we saw how Hui could perform in side lanes, against Cloud9, knocking down turrets. If he ever gets time, he's going to be a menace. And here's the fight again. As you said, it does feel like Misfits just are trying to force anything.
Yeah, they were just right here. Power Weevil jumping in with Maxwell before the dual lane was there, before the fire could even TP in. Doomed before the fight even started after Misfits called for that engage, and SKT pick up a bunch of easy kills on the way.
Definitely believe you guys are right. Misfits giving a lot of consideration to always going. We see it from Han Sama in the bot lane. Those summoners are up. The rocket jump is forward. Ignar's there with Cosmic Radiance, as well as Maxlore. They're behind so much gold, still trying to just take that blue, get a little bit back, and they're getting in trouble for it.
And Han Sama, speak a little bit about him as he may be caught out here.
Ooh, does have Ignar for a moment, but Baker's going to take quite a while to go down, and at this point, it's enough time for the team to get there and make it another SKT fight.
Yeah, Han Sama has just been such an aggressive player throughout the tournament. He's actually second in forward percentage, meaning time spent across half, essentially. Only second to iBoy, who's now no longer with us. So he has really been playing this aggressive play style and making it work for himself.